Let me read it for you.
Go ahead, Brother Minister.
After Moses had been raised and missioned and sent to his people, Moses said, according to the Quran in the 20th chapter, the 25th verse, he said, "My Lord, expand my breast for me." That's a very powerful statement. I want to just touch them because each one of these statements, you can teach a whole subject on it, but we don't have time today. Expand my breast for me. What does that mean? When your breast expands, what does that mean? Here's your breast, your chest area, the chest cavity, which carries your lungs and your heart. These two powerful organs of the human body. The heart that pumps the blood and the lungs that take in oxygen. He said, "My Lord, expand my breast for me." If you enlarge my heart, physically I can get sick. But if you enlarge my heart spiritually, it means that my love will not be narrowly focused on only those that are my immediate people. But if you expand my breast for me, you will expand my feelings of love and commitment and compassion for more than what it was before I made that prayer. If you look at Moses, Moses was nationalistic because he came to make a nation out of Israel. Jesus started off on that same narrow level, as did Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He had to first make a nation and then expand. Jesus said to his disciples, "Go ye not into the way of the Gentiles, nor into the way of the Samaritans, but go ye to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Is that right?
Yes, sir.
He was telling his students, his disciples, don't focus on anybody else but the lost sheep. But at another point in time, Jesus said, "Go ye into all the world and teach this doctrine." When Prophet Muhammad first started, his message was directed to the Arabs. And it was directed to a condition that was prevalent among the Arabs. But the Quran as a book was for the totality of humanity. But he first had to make a nation, make a people from nothing. And he had to clear this people of the social conditions that had left them in an ignominious state where nobody wanted them. After he cleared them of these initial conditions, the understanding of this book, Quran, gave them a universal perspective and a universal mission. But he could not start them off universally. He started them off nationalistically and then grew them to universal proportions. Hear me well. A man cannot think universal if he's thinking tribal. Did you hear me? If the Arabs were into tribes, how in the world could you teach them the universality of the whole human family? You first had to make them see that the tribe that they belonged to this other tribe, and to bring them together. So Muhammad had to contract marriages, and he married women of other tribes to unite tribes. I have made you into tribes and families and nations. But from the tribe comes the family. From the family comes the nation. So he had to first make a nation and then expand their breast with a message that would send them to the whole world. You have to be made the same way. Beloved Muslims, you criticize Elijah Muhammad as a teacher of black nationalism. It is because you don't understand the process of the growth and development of a dead people. This is a dead people who don't have a self-respect and a self-concern and a self-direction and a self-determination. How then can you teach them of universal things when they have not learned the fundamental things about themselves? So Elijah Muhammad had to start where the people were, and where they are is that they've been taught all their lives to hate the blackness of their skin. So Elijah Muhammad had to make you learn to love your black self, and then move you from the love of your skin to the love of your nature. And your nature is righteousness. But he couldn't get you to be righteous until he first made you to love who you were. Because the enemy had made us hate self. Do you understand? Is it clear? Now you a tribe today. The NAACP tribe, the Push tribe, the Urban League tribe, the Baptist tribe, the Methodist tribe, or the First Baptist tribe, and the Second Baptist tribe, the Lutheran tribe, the Methodist tribe, the Church of God in Christ tribe, the Holiness tribe. You're all into denominations, is that right? Which are like tribes. You don't even see yourselves as a whole people. So somebody has to give you a common denominator that will link all of the tribes together so that we can see ourselves as a people again. Then when you get to see yourself as a people, you can't stop growing, because God got a mission for you. So he has to expand your breast and make you see the totality of the human family as your field. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, big field awaits the wide awake man to work out in. Help me arise the dead nation by the thousands. So here the word is given, my Lord, expand my breast for me. I see there's more growing that I have to endure. Expand my breast. Help me, give me a greater capacity to know. My lungs, I am only breathing in so many cubic feet of air. But if you will expand my breast for me, I can take in more air. I can take in more inspiration. I can take in more knowledge. Then I can be a better servant, not just to this few that you have given me, but to the whole world. So, as Jesus said to his disciples, there are many of this fold that are not necessarily of this flock. I have many more that are not of this fold. Praise be to Allah. He says, expand my breast and ease my affair for me. Now, you know, when a man got this kind of job on him, as God put on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad a job of waking up, resurrecting black folk from death, that's a job.
Yes, sir.
You don't need no other job. That's not a gig. That's not a short-term thing. You die and leave work to be done on that kind of job, so you need help. When you got a job like that that's going to last beyond your life, you need help. Somebody that will come up and see you struggling with the heavy load and say, I will help you lift it up. A man that got a job like that needs help, not lip service, not talk. He needs help. Excuse me for shouting. But the reason I shout like that is because I understand the pain of having a job and no help. Ease my affair for me. Ease this thing, because it's a heavy burden that I'm carrying. Now look at this next verse. And loose the knot from my tongue, that they may understand my word. Here's a man crying to God, expand my breast. Make me able to love more than I love. Make me able with a capacity to know more than I know. And ease my affair for me. And loosen the knot from my tongue that they may understand my word. Well, what's the problem? Why aren't the people coming up? It's because they have a lack of what? Understanding. Well, what is it in the tongue that is not it? When Master Farad Muhammad brought the word, he talked in symbols to a people who were absolutely dead. Symbols are in themselves darkness, but they contain light. When you got a people that walk in darkness, you cannot approach them with pure light lest you blind them totally. So you must talk to them in a parable kind of way, in a way that you tell stories like the Iliad and the Odyssey, stories that convey light, but they are fit for the dark condition of the mind as the mind presents itself to God. But now, when the breast needs to be expanded and the affair needs to be eased, then the knot in the tongue has to be taken out, meaning that understanding has to be given. The esoteric meanings of the teachings have to be given in order for people's breasts to be expanded to become more universal than national. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But now, the man hungers that the world may understand his word. His time is limited. So he says, and give to me an aider from my family, Aaron, my brother. Now, Aaron and understanding and loosening the knot and easing the affair, they are all tied in together. When you ask God to help you, God doesn't help you in a spooked up way. He sends you something and someone that you can readily recognize to help you out. When you say, Lord, I can't pay my bill this week. My rent is due. And the landlord is mean and is going to put me out. Lord, I don't have any way right now to get this money. Help me, Lord. You walk out your house and you meet a friend. And he says, brother, how you doing? Gee, you look worried. You say, I am worried. I'm about to be put out. What you need? Well, I need a couple of $100. Oh, that all? Here, brother. Here's $200. You say, thank you so much. When the person leaves, you say, Lord.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lord, thank you for answering my prayer. But the point is, when you pray, the Lord answers your prayer in a real way. Do you hear me? Yes, Moses is praying to God, ease my affair. Loosen the knot from my tongue that they may understand my word. Then he says, give me an aider from my family, Aaron, my brother. A man made in the same spirit like his brother. Made of the same essence and quality like my brother. But one is superior to the other. But they are similar. And he says, add to my strength by him. And make him, God, this is Moses praying, make him share my task. Share my burden. You dropped the heavy load on me, God. I need help. Send me somebody to share my task. so that we may glorify thee much, and much remember thee. Surely thou art ever seeing us. And Allah said, thou art indeed granted thy petition, O Moses. Here's a man petitioning God, and God says, your petition is granted. Then the next thing we should look for is Aaron sharing the task. Aaron carrying the burden. Aaron making the word understandable that people can now say, I understand it now better than I ever understood it before. And I tell you, beloved, whether you believe it or not, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught you well. But there was much more that he could have said. But you could not bear it then because you didn't have a foundation in the truth that was strong enough to bear the word and its understanding. So he had to wait until you understood. But your understanding was so slow in coming, he knew his time among you was limited to 40 years. So he prayed for an aid out of his family. Well, you may say that Ada is on the scene. You may say that Ada is his son. You're right. But which one? See, if I'm aiding you, I can't denounce you and aid you at the same time. I can't condemn you and aid you. If I'm an aider, I'm to loosen the knot in the tongue so that the people understand you better. That son did not do that for that father, but this son is doing it for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.